Good afternoon. Hello, my name is Eagles Medicine. Yes, this is my actual name in my tribe. Now, I'm part of the Fort Hall Indian Reservation, which is located in South Eastern Idaho on Fort Hall. Now, we have a nice, rich, deep history. Sovereign nation of several clans that got mixed together to form two tribes, placed onto one giant reservation. So first off, you have the Shoshone, and they call the Rocky Mountains their home. They spent most of their time living right next to or along the Snake River as it found its way through the Rocky Mountains, through Montana, Washington, Wyoming, everywhere else that it goes. Now, they used to like to travel, hunt back and forth from West Yellowstone, all the way back to southeastern Idaho, where they love to call home, just so they can hunt their buffalo. The other thing that you have there, the other tribe that you have there is the Bannocks, and they live mostly in Oregon and Idaho, but again, just like the Shoshone, they used to love to go and hunt themselves some buffalo. And they would do that alongside the Shoshone, usually as a co-ed team, kind of a, you go this way, I'll go this way, and bam, we got a whole bunch of buffalo. Now, in these clans, you had several smaller denominations within these clans. Just like with cultures, just like with language and dialects, there's always going to be a little bit of variation. And the way that they described you is depending on what you ate. So if you was a salmon eater, you was commonly called Agea Deka. Buffalo eaters, Kuchun Deka. Or root eaters, Yaman Deka. Now everything was all fine and dandy until somebody decided that, hey, you know what? Let's put up a fort there. Let's create a trading post somewhere in the middle between the Mississippi River and the Pacific Seaboard. So thus became Fort Hall. Now, what Fort Hall also did was it also decimated the natural game population, the vegetation. So because of that, that led to a whole bunch of skirmishes. All those skirmishes then led to, where am I at here? To a massacre of 400 plus Northwestern Shoshone, who all under the leadership of Chief Bear Hunter were massacred from Army Colonel Patrick Edward Corner. And so when all this happened, that became the Fort Bridger Treaty. Said, hey, you know what? Let's create this reservation. Let's take all of these clans that create these two tribes, put them onto this big reservation. Well, essentially that became a death sentence because it kind of took and isolated them right there to that one small group of land, but did not allow them to leave that land to go off to do what they normally do by going and hunting in other places. The only way they could do that is if they went to unoccupied land, and in the West, everything used to be occupied because somebody said, that's my land, I own it. So it limited it from being 100% where they could go to being 10% where they could actually do. Then the other thing they tried to do is convert them into farmers. Didn't work either because at the time that they stood up this reservation, there was also a giant drought. It lasted for a few years, killed a lot of the population. Now let's fast forward to 1934. The Indian Recognition Act, passed by President Roosevelt, was passed. And what that did was it took all those treaties, one such example is the Dawes Treaty that said, hey, look, we understand you have all this land, but let's take some of that, bring it over here, and we'll give it to each individual person. In turn, the president would say, hey, I will offer you 30 cents to the acre of land for every acre that we can buy from you. At the time, 30 cents sounded like a lot, but that land was actually worth a whole lot more. So the United States government used to get it back from the Native Americans at a really cheap, really reduced price. So when the Indian Act, or Indian Recognition Act, passed by President Roosevelt happened, it reversed that law, along with some of the other treaties that, like I said before, that it did, and it gave some of that land back. The other thing it did is it also established them as a sovereign nation. What that allowed them to do is it allowed them to manage their own assets and their own economic growth and development. Now, for the most part, even to this day, Shoshones are still hunter-gatherers, mostly for fun, mostly just because they enjoy doing it to subsidize their own food. But it's also they have their own growing economy. As of right now, as of today, we are the fourth largest employer in southeastern Idaho, and that's mostly thanks to our casinos. We draw in an average of 200 plus tourists every year from outside. That's new money to southeastern Idaho. And when you look at it, it's a very large potential for such a small group. Now, our future still is unknown. We still really don't know where we're headed, but we do know this. We're trying to get ourselves out there. We're trying to make ourselves better. One of those things is our youth. We're trying to protect our youth, and we're trying to make our youth more intelligent, more sociable, more politically knowledgeable. So because of that, we have scholarships that range from economical development, political development, agricultural development, all in the chances that we will take those young men and women and have them succeed and improve our current community. Another thing that we're also looking to do is maintain our identity. Part of that identity being our language. As you can see from what I was trying to say to you earlier, I myself am not very fluent at it, even though I've grown up in this culture my entire life. So take that coupled with the fact that there are very, very few people that actually speak this language fluently, the fact that nobody else can really speak this language, because up until about 10 years ago, this language was not written down. And then we also have our annual festival that's held every year. So with our past filled with victory and defeat, happiness and sadness, our future still filled with potential and uncertainty. And since we have no formal words for goodbye, I also would say to you, Ayode na wenawi, which is all my relations. I'll pray for you and your family for good fortune. Thank you.